Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Cinema Corner. Today, I am going to be doing a solo review of Conjuring: The Last Rites. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one out of the three of us that's actually seen the whole franchise when it comes to Conjuring universe. And, hey, I think I was on the same boat with majority of people when it came to going into this film, feeling a bit uneasy. I was kind of even surprised that this was even happening, because the last one definitely felt like it was just going to be kind of the last one, as it really didn't have that great of reviews. But hey, here we are. So, quick summary. This film gives us kind of a quick introduction to a few new characters. The first main one being Tony, which is the fiance or slash husband slash boyfriend of Judy. Now we also see a fully grown Judy as well. And of course, in Ed and Lorraine, they return Father Gordon, and then, of course, kind of the current new family that's getting haunted by the mirror. Quickly, we get some background lore of them meeting the mirror while Lorraine was pregnant with Judy, and kind of seeing the miracle that happens with Judy. And it also alludes that there is a connection with this mirrored demon. It definitely also kind of alludes that maybe this demon is going to have more than just a connection with Judy. So that was kind of a fun, just quick intro when it comes to this new demon that they're facing, as well as kind of just background information about the family we love. So we start, seeing what's happening to the family. They get to the news about them being haunted, and it's kind of fun and chill. I do love the character designs of the actual family themselves. They look authentic to the time, and overall, you kind of want to see them interact with this family, Ed and Lorraine and Judy. But I'll start with the good. How about we start with the good before we get into the bad? So some of the good is Ed and Lorraine, their chemistry still feels super strong. It was cool seeing them as parents and their actions with Judy. Judy seemed like it was a good casting, as she was pretty fun and chill of a character herself, of interacting with Lorraine and Ed. Tony was a nice introduction. I like the fact that he has a miracle story that makes it believable that he kind of isn't fully bothered with what's going on with Judy and her abilities, similar to Lorraine's. Because, hey, it is a bit goofy, and it's like, how do you get a boyfriend to make sense to be okay with it? So I enjoyed that. I also really enjoyed Father Gordon's death scene. I think the reason why I enjoy the Conjuring franchise so much is that how they make the villains, demons, hauntings feel powerful. And they do a really good job building that tension throughout the films, whether with characters' deaths or just showing what's going on. And they mean business. And so that was really, at that moment, was I was finally kind of starting to believe in, okay, this film, I kind of enjoyed that. That was a good scene and brutal. And they kept setting it up in the beginning that this is the story that breaks almost the family apart and is their last one. So I'm like, okay, so we're gonna get a strong finish, right? That's kind of the good, Here's the bad, and I think there's kind of plenty of it. The real main bad is it takes an hour and 20 minutes, give or take around there, to get to the actual house that's being haunted. It takes that long for Ed and Lorraine to arrive. That is way too much time. And it's because they were kind of just doing a bit too much. It was the same with the last one. It feels like they don't know if they're going to ever actually make another one or not. So they don't know if they should make this really a finale film, or if they should continue building up a bunch of lore and character building with the characters that we have. So we got way too much of that to where it was turning into like a drama comedy than an actual horror film. Yeah. So an hour 20 is pretty rough. And I'm not saying that whole hour 20 is bad. I mean, there's definitely, like I said, it was turning a drama comedy because there was some funny moments. And I still was having a decent time. It's just, that's a lot, man. And it takes away from that tension building that the previous Conjuring universe movies are good at, because you get just a few one and done scenes that are more jump scares than actual tension builders. Also, during that time, I mean, not a whole lot's actually really happening to the family that's being haunted. The fact that all of them survived, besides maybe grandma, is kind of dumb. There needed to be more that's happening to really kind of help with that tension builder, but nothing really does. They all survive, and when they actually arrive to the house, they kind of don't really interact too much with the actual family. It's still just a core cast talking to each other. Besides them actually covering the mirror with the dad, that's really, I just feel kind of like it. So I didn't enjoy that. I wanted a bit more of, I mean, you had me see this family for a good amount apart. You actually have some scenes with them of establishing kind of like their core family values, their struggling family, all living together. I actually did enjoy them. But once Ed and Lorraine and all them arrived, it was kind of like, okay, they're done. And they were out. Wanted a bit more from them. Maybe that's a bit nitpicking and just being a bit too much. But I did. For me, I consider that a part of the bad. But that's kind of just where I go, where this movie has focus issues. Another big one that I'm just so against. Way too much Annabelle. Why was there so much of her? We get it. That was your moneymaker. Cool, bro. Why did we have so much? We get her having, anytime they're showing kind of like the trophy room, close-up, slow shots of her when you're walking past, to the point where you're thinking, okay, is she coming back? Because, obviously the real Annabelle doll disappeared. So it was like, is that a publicity stunt? Something happening? Is this actually an Annabelle film and not a Conjuring one of this demon in the mirror? Nope. They're just doing that. They're just teasing it. I know there's a connection with Judy, I understand. But no. You established in the beginning of this film that Judy has an actual connection with this demon in the mirror. That should be the story about that connection. Instead, we kept getting teases of Annabelle when she literally goes up into the attic, becomes the big Annabelle doll, and we're like, oh, that's where I thought, like, oh, it's actually her this whole time. No, it wasn't. She has nothing to do with this movie. Then at the end with Tony, too, getting way too close to it, of like when the movie's ending and him handing the keys kind of over. Why was that such a slow scene around Annabelle again? Like, we're just forgetting the nun exists? Cool. It just, it takes away, and it takes away from the building of your current villain that's in the mirror. And it loses me a couple times. And I feel like it loses other people too. It has to. Because, I don't know. I really did not like that. You're just doing too much. I love Annabelle. I get it. She should not have had that much screen time. It was way too much. Have the little fun you do when you walk past it, when you're showing the trophy room. Cool, man. But, yeah, unless they're doing a third Annabelle film, and that's their way of trying to tease it, I guess. I don't know. So that was a big focus issue for me, because I felt like you created this whole connection. We see that Judy actually gets possessed, which is cool. But because of the Annabelle distractions, it's like, you didn't get enough explanation of like, that's really the dots that got connected. Instead, it's like, oh, she got possessed. And it just happens, I wanted more. I wanted more from that. But I didn't get it at all. Because you wasted like 10 minutes of Annabelle screen time on me. I'm already at an hour 20, man, into this of where stuff's happening. You don't have enough time right now. Really, after those kind of complaints. We get the final scene, obviously, of the mirror spinning. It's pretty goofy. It throws you off, and it kind of becomes a funny moment. And then it kind of tries to reel you back in with the fact that it's being intense on the leg for Tony. But that ending was so lackluster. I mean, there was just nothing to it. It wasn't scary. It wasn't intense. You're just like, I'm waiting for this to be over and seeing how they conclude this movie. Nobody dies. Everybody's fine. We definitely didn't get enough touching of the fact that the house was already haunted, the grounds with, the ex dad, and all that. I loved that. That was so fun about the fact that there's 3 things here, and the demon was using it to bait Ed and Lorraine and Judy in. Give me some more of that. I mean, this should have been a really difficult win for Ed and Lorraine because it was a trap. And it just wasn't that. So, we can get one scene with Lorraine interacting with them, and she survives just fine. It's like, okay, cool. So the house is still haunted. They didn't do anything about that at all. And they win, and they leave the family at the end. So, yeah, didn't really feel like it was that much of a family buster as they were trying to say it was. Didn't really seem like it was them or how they concluded that. They just were like, yeah, we survived, and we moved on. Big whoop. That's the movie. Overall, I still give it a 6 out of 10. It's still a decent movie. You're not going to have a bad time. The writing is still good. It's still good acting. There's just not enough of this movie being an actual scary movie that it doesn't really feel like it fits in too well with the Conjuring universe. And that's what really makes me lose points. So overall, 6 out of 10. Please let me know how you guys felt about this movie. I'm really curious about the fan interactions. Still has some time out to kind of give a full kind of recap of how people are feeling. It seems like overall it's still mixed when I'm seeing it on TikTok and online. So let me know how you guys feel.